And we're away. And I didn't switch my microphone on again, so I'm doing this as a voiceover. And I'm saying something in the region of this is an Ibanez Electro Acoustic, and it's it's model AEG2 411 THS 1203. Now that's a fair model number, isn't it? Right, hang on one sec. Nothing serious with this, it's just in for a restring and, well, see how we get on with it. Bit of a clean up and polish the frets. Frets are a little bit tarnished, it happens. The original complaint also was that the tuner wasn't working, but the battery had gone flat. So it was a new battery, by the way, Duracell Plus, 9-volt little square one. So I stuck a new battery in it and the tuner works again. So there you go. I'm going to do a heck of a lot to it. One thing it is having is Rosewood bridge pins. Taking out the old plastic ones. The owner rather likes the Rosewood. I put one in her other Ibanez last week, and she was delighted. So real Rosewood with real mother of oyster, or some mollusk anyway, probably mother of plastic, but it claims to be mother of pearl inlays. Little dots in the top, they're quite pleasing. So I think we're about to take the strings off, I'm not sure. Oh yes, they're coming off. The mighty Makita, not a Makita is it? It's oh dear, it's a yellow one. What the devil is it called? DeWalt, or Default as one of my friends calls it. I put the string winder in it and off it goes, winding strings. Turn it down to number 1 on the chuck, so that if something does jam up somewhere it doesn't twist everything off, because it's quite a powerful drill. Anyway, taking the strings off, and I think this is going to be a 25-minute video again. Oh dear Lord, what am I going to say for 25 minutes? It's alright when I was actually doing it and talking. There we go. Now we dig out my bridge pin puller, as I can't find my angle grinder anyway. So there we go. Everything lives in jam jars I'll do a little video on that, I think. I'm sure everybody knows how to do it. But you basically screw the lid underneath the shelf and then pop the jam jar on its lid. And you can put labels on them if you want. Mostly you can see through them, except the ones where the labels won't come off, and then I think I got a sticky label to put on it. So we're not saving these, as I said, that she's having them back, because I always give parts back, except for strings. And we're going to have Rosewood ones. I hope this is recording. I really hope this is recording. Let me have a look. If it isn't, I'm going to be somewhat mad. Yes, it is. So there we go. Right, back to the video. There we go. No, you didn't change, but I did. What was I wittering about when I started? Oh, the bridge. The bridge is very sloppy. I need to get some very thin modelling card, the plastic card that is, and just put it in one side of the bridge where it slots into the actual rosewood here. It flops around if you watch. I think we're going to demonstrate that. 3, 2, 1, demonstrate. No? Oh, there we go. There we go. The fickle finger of fate. Dear, it does come out. So, as I was saying at this point, that it is if you turn your guitar upside down, the bridge should not fall out. I mean, it must come out easily, but not fall out. So, I think it is alleged you lose tone if the bridge isn't firm, but not sort of murderously tight. You've got to watch it with these electroacoustics anyway, because you've got the pickup underneath the bridge. You can just see it shining away in the bottom of the slot there. Now what am I doing? Oh dear. Oh, it's back again. I could tell a joke when it went, but I didn't. So, come on, zoom out so we can see what you're up to. I think the next job is fret polishing. So, and that goes on and on and on and on and on. But I was talking about, yeah, here we go. I use masking tape. Some people actually use post-it notes, you know, little yellow squares you can get sticky on one edge. They're actually very good for doing this, and they're cheap. You can get an awful lot of them for not much money. And you just put one each side the fret, the sticky side towards the fret, and you're away. So there. But what I have is masking tape. I'm looking now for my 1000 grit wet and dry, which I'm going to use dry. And as it turns out, I can't find any. I've got everything else but 1000, so I end up using 1200. Go on, show what you're doing. That was my elbow. Everybody should have an elbow. And you just give it a quick smooth over with dry, wet and dry, at least 1000. You're not trying to take material off, you're just trying to take the dirt off and the corrosion. And you just give it a couple of swipes with the 1200, and then some metal polish. I use Solvol Autosol. There we go, a couple of swipes, not much. As I say, we're not trying to reduce the height or level them or anything like that. They're fine, these frets are. They just got a bit tarnished. It's sometime since I've had this particular model, Isaac his name is, on the workbench. There we go, Autosol metal polish, stuck on the top of the bloody guitar. Oh dear, what am I thinking about? Stuck on the top of the guitar, where it's going to scratch up the surface and the owner's going to start yelling at me again. I hope not. I don't mind being yelled at by attractive young women, I must admit. No, not at all. Well done, mate. So a little bit of this. I've got a corner of her. Here we go, zooming out so we can all see what's happening. I'm not sure I like this voiceover lark particularly. At this, as we speak, I'm just trying to get the dust off my computer screen. So, yes. No end of trouble getting all this to work today. So I've got two different programs running. I've got my this particular one, which is video. Oh, for heaven's sake, what a memory. Video Studio, that's it. And I'm watching this as I'm talking into a different program, which is Cubase. Oh dear Lord. Which has been recorded through my Zoom R16 8-track record. Well, it's 16 tracks, so they say. We only do 8 at a time, so it's an 8-track. Anyway, so quick wipe over with 1200 grit in this case. Wipe the residue off, and then there we go with the Autosol. You don't need to do a lot, and you don't need to do it very hard. It's surprising how quickly it comes up. Autosol leaves a residue as well, which helps to protect against corrosion. So it says. Corrosion is a mighty powerful thing. And we're going to do it again for some reason. No, I think that was a mistake. Wake up. There you go. Throw it down. Get the Autosol out. Find a place where you had it. There we go. Should have wiped it first. Where is your head today, boy? Ah, dear. Okay. Just wipe the polish off and it's done. That's the first of 22 and we keep going, folks. Yeah, I bought this very expensive condenser mic. Well, it wasn't very expensive, about 30 quid. I'm just mean, that's all. 30 quid's like, no! And I've had awful trouble with it. It runs off phantom power, which is supposed to be 18 volts. Sorry, 48 volts. And my Zoom runs off USB power. It's got batteries in it, but even that's only like 9 or 10 volts, something like that. And where they get 18 volts, I know you can step up and step down and do all the clever stuff with electricity, but no, anyway. Second fret. And I'm worked that way. I don't know why. The other day I was doing a strat and I started up the bloody machine head end. But you work over yourself then, so your sleeves are scratching at it and your wedding ring and your watch and all that business. So you can take all these things off, I suppose, and work nude if you want to, but dreadful sight that would be. Anyway, what I was muttering about while I was doing this was a movie I watched last night called Sully. It's on BBC iPlayer, and it's about Captain Chesney Sullenberger, who landed his Airbus in the River Hudson at New York City. And the film was directed by Clint Eastwood, or Dirty Larry as some people call him. He made a good job of it. I can't remember, forgive me, people involved, the name of the actor that played the first officer or the name of the actual first officer, but Tom Hanks and the actor who played the first officer really looked like them. They Chesley Sullenberger and Tom Hanks, with the right makeup on, looked very similar. I suppose it was just the grey moustache and the grey hair and all that business. But it went into great detail of what happened. And for those of you who don't know, Captain Sullenberger and the first officer took off from LaGuardia, and they got to 2,800 feet, I think, and ran into a flock of geese. Now, you can't avoid them. By the time you've seen them, they're past you. But they went in the engines and buggered the engines up. I mean, geese are big birds. Now, when they test jet engines in the factory, they fire frozen chickens through them, I'm told. And I've seen film of this happening, and there's a cannon that fires a frozen chicken. Whether it's thawed out or not, I have no idea. But they don't do it with live animals, obviously. Well, not that they're admitting to. And while they're doing that, the engine should remain running. They do it with water. They blast firemen's hoses through it. They don't, it doesn't go out, because the combustion chamber is not in line with the water as it comes in. So all you get out the other end is hot water and steam. But anyway, they fire chickens at it. But chickens and geese are different creatures. Geese are blooming great big things. Very heavy. And they can be quite aggressive. They can give you a nasty peck. So I presume they went in the engine and pecked it, broke the turbine blades, and both engines flamed out, is the long and short of it. 2,800 feet. And they're in the climb, so they're quite steeply pointed up. So first job is aviate. There's a saying in flying that you aviate, navigate, and then sort your act out. So you fly the aeroplane is prime objective, so keep it flying. So even the biggest, heaviest aeroplane will act as a glider when the engines quit. It doesn't just sort of fall out the sky like a brick. It'll glide around. That's how you get them down. I mean, you put the engines to idle and down they come. Nice controlled descent. So what Captain Sullenberger did was nice controlled descent. He decided he couldn't go back to LaGuardia. It was too far away. Couldn't get to Teterboro in New Jersey, which is just across the Hudson River. Too far away. The only place he could go is land it in the river. Now this is the middle of January, and it's bloody freezing. I lived in New York for a few years. I know how damn cold it can get. And so he's going to put his aeroplane down in this river of bloody freezing water, which he did successfully. I mean, nobody's ever done a water landing. It wasn't a crash, it was a water landing of a passenger jet before. There's a few vids on YouTube of people who've managed to get video of them trying to land on water, and it always ends badly. And he got it down to presumably as slow as it would go. I mean, you do that by holding the nose up when you're almost landing. You do that in a landing anyway. It's called the flare. Just before it touches down, you pull the nose up and it slows the aeroplane down, not only in its forward speed, but it's in its descending speed as well. Because, I mean, they come down 1,000 feet a minute, and that's going to be too hard to land. So you really need to slow it down in all respects. They got a bit of flap down. Flaps increase the lift on the wing. And he put it down on the water. Ripped one of the engines off, and that sank, obviously. but the aeroplane didn't, and nobody was badly injured. One of the flight attendants, I believe, had some cuts on her legs. The lady that was at the back. Please never call them stewardesses, because they're not. They're flight attendants. They're there for your safety primarily. Now, this is a bit of a bone I've got. If you've got males and females on a big jet, there's quite a lot of them. And, all right, they bring you little shots of whiskey and sandwiches and a hot meal if you're a long enough flight. And I've flown the Atlantic a few times, and it's welcome, actually. I've never complained about airline food. I've never complained about the service. I have nothing but high regard for flight attendants, safety officers, because their prime thing is, if something happens that you don't want to happen, they're there to look after you. Not to bring you a bloody whiskey when the aircraft's plummeting out of the sky, but to show you how to brace properly. Nobody listens to them, do they? I mean, I see, last time I flew, they were doing the briefing, the pre-flight briefing, and nobody took the slightest bit of notice of them. And I always do. I always listen. Where's my nearest exit? If we're... There's sometimes there's nothing you can do. I mean, if the thing's going down in screaming agony, then, you just put your head between your knees, kiss your ass goodbye. But anyway, flight attendants, bless them. So anyway, they landed in the Hudson, and if you've ever been to New York, the Hudson's a busy place. He was actually lucky to find a clear spot. Middle of January, not that many tourist boats out, but the ferries were out. There's ferries between New York and New Jersey. I believe the ferries that take people to Statue of Liberty were working, but they weren't really by where he was. But as soon as the first ferry saw him, they actually saw him land, they radioed in and said, "Oh, there's a plane down in the Hudson," and told them where it was. It was pretty good. And the boats, as you see on the True Life video at the time, lots of rescue boats. Everybody survived. Nobody was killed. It's a bloody miracle. People call it the miracle on the Hudson, and I'm not one to go on about miracles. Miracles are usually hysteria, statues bleeding at the eyes and all this bollocks. And as soon as one person says they've seen it, everybody says they've seen it. So anyway, I'm digressing again, which is what I do. I do that. And so basically what it came down to was that once the feathers had settled, literally in this case, there's the National Transport Association, NTSB, National Transport Safety Bureau, I don't know. They always do an investigation. If a light plane with one person and it runs off the end of the runway and then taxis back, technically it's reportable. So you get an investigation. What happened? Why did you do it? So when a big thing happens, in this case, that all the crew, all the flight data recorders, passenger witnesses, they had more information than they knew what to do with. But it would appear that the insurance company reared its ugly head and said, well, look, we don't want to pay out millions of pounds for an Airbus. See if you can blame the pilots, which they tried to do. Pilot error is the favourite. Quite often it is, but everybody makes mistakes. Modern aircraft are so automated, but when things go wrong, you're fucked. Oh, pardon me. Where was I? But they had flight simulators, the proper ones now, where you train for emergencies without actually breaking a real aeroplane. And these things are very, very realistic. Pilots have been known to have heart attacks in them under extreme stress. They're that realistic. This is, again, I'm told, I don't know, I've never been in one. They cost a lot of money to have an hour in one of those things. And all the simulators said, yeah, they could have got back to LaGuardia, or they could have got to Teterboro, 2,800 feet, plenty of time. But what they didn't take into account was that, oh my God, what's happened time. Because, they knew they'd flown through a flock of birds because it knocked the hell out of the aeroplane. Forget the engines. A goose can do a lot of damage to a thin aluminium skin. But they tried to put this on the pilots that they were sort of flapping around in the cockpit, and they weren't. They were very, very professional, very calm. I could imagine myself in that situation. I'd have been trying to get out of the window, using a hanky as a parachute. Anyway, and they did the right thing, it turned out. But they weren't allowing in the simulation thinking time, so they allowed them 35 seconds to think about it. 35 seconds. It took them about a minute in reality. They started the auxiliary power unit, which is the little engine at the very back of most jets. It's about the size of a shoebox, but it's actually a little jet engine. And that provides auxiliary power to start the engines, all that sort of thing. And they tried to restart the engines, and one of them's restarting the engines, and the other one's flying the aeroplane. Or flying the glider, as it is at this time. They tried to say at the inquest that one of the engines was still working, which it wasn't. The data recorder said it was, but it was erroneous. When they've actually pulled the engine up out of the Hudson in the end, they found it was completely knackered. And not from the crash or the landing, from the water landing. It was knackered before then. There was bits of goose in it and all this sort of thing, and it was creamed. So no, it wasn't given any thrust. The pilots are trained professionals. Captain Sullenberger has been flying for many, many years. He flew in the military, flew fighter jets. He knew what he was doing. And, I think I've gone past my wobbly bit, haven't I? Never mind. So basically that's where that went. And 21:50. I'm just trying to check where I am with this. I don't know. I think we're about at the end. 24 minutes. I'm at 22 because I've got the remote in my hand on the picture and I'm just winding up, hoping that everybody is safe. And as soon as the parts come in, I'll be fitting the strings with the new bridge pins and see how. Oh dear Lord! There we are. There's the wobbly bit. And doing all that business. So I think at this moment I'm actually just winding down and telling everybody that it's been nice to see you all, and I can see you. So if you're sitting around in your underwear, I know you are, yes, I can see you. And you say, I don't have a camera. Don't need one. Your screen is watching you. Yes, it is. Whether it's your phone or a computer, or you're sitting at the cinema with your boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm talking out of my backside again. So we're about done. I'm going to pack this up and go watch Sully. It's on BBC iPlayer. This is the first couple of weeks in August, so I don't know how long it's going to be on for. Great movie, and it gives you an insight into the blame culture in the air. Well, everywhere, isn't it? Not just the airlines. It's your fault, so I'm not paying the insurance, blah, blah, blah. And those aeroplanes cost, it's more than a week's wages. And very expensive. And anyway, 23 minutes. So what? I've run out of things to say. No, I haven't really. I suppose I could sing a song or tell a joke. I know this goes on for 25 minutes, so I've got another couple of minutes to go. When I'll do more film on this when it comes putting it back together, reaming out the bridge pin holes, because they're slightly fatter than the plastic ones. And see you then. So I hope everyone stays safe. Wear your face mask, even if you're on your own, going to the toilet in your house. Wear your face mask. And if you've got dogs, give them face masks. And if you've got parakeets, give them face masks. And if you've got gerbils, even if they're giant gerbils, give them face masks, because they deserve to live. And if you think wearing a face mask looks silly, you look a lot sillier at the creme. Just remember that. And your relatives wouldn't be there to see you off. So I think I've had my rant for the day now. I'm actually starting to get a sore throat, yapping away for half an hour. It's a bit like singing. Ya-da-da-da-dee. Oh well. Let's just hope the other program's recorded all this, because I ain't bloody well doing it again. And now I've got to get it off the add a Cubase into Video Studio and more or less, do it so that it works the same. Synchronize it. That's the word I was trying to think. Synchronize. Oh, I'm talking about Sallenberger and his plane. Synchronize. Okay. Near as you get into a joke today. So, thumbs up. That means the video is about to end. And thank you again for watching. Stay safe and see you in the next video.